How's it going, guys? I have a follow-up review video of my new Ariens Professional Alpine Edition Rapidtrak 28-inch Professional. So I sold the Cub. Kind of real quick before we even get into the review, I had in my past review video a Cub Cadet 26. I loved it. I hate it. I used it commercially. I do other than my yard, I do approximately 10 yards, give or take, when it snows. So I had a love-hate relationship with it. That third stage, I loved it, and I hated it all at once. And unfortunately, it was more I had to get rid of it. I was starting to get some problems with it. Typical Cub Cadet. I do baby all my equipment because equipment's expensive. But I mean, I was starting to get some issues with it, like your traditional cables, bolts stripping out. And it was just starting to see some wear. And on top of it, it just wasn't performing how I needed it to. I did, however, take the belt off for the auger and put a Kevlar belt, a little bit smaller, and I was able, and that really helped my application because I was usually running that thing in 5th or 6th gear, plowing through snow. I would blow through more shear pins, of course, which would be my fault. But anyways, that was one of the modifications I did. So anyways, without further ado, I have a Ariens Professional Rapidtrak 28-inch cut. I was looking into the Ariens before I started going from the Cub. I really didn't want to buy another Cub Cadet, so I started looking into Ariens, and I ended up looking at the Ariens Kraken 32, which is the next step up in the same exact model, and it was just too heavy. I went and seen it. I was ready to walk out with it, and once I seen it and tried to use it, it was just a pain in the neck. So this model. I'm sorry, phone call was trying to come in. So anyways, so I was going through this model back and forth between the wheeled model and then the track model. I said, you know what the hell, I'm going to go ahead and try the track model. So anyways, start from the front and kind of work our way back. Oh, let me grab my light. So you do have a 16-inch auger, followed by your 14-inch back there impeller. Do have your bolt for your gearbox to check your oil. You do not have shear pins. Ariens has your shear bolts on there to protect your auger, as well as grease fittings. Most snow blowers right out of the box don't have those nowadays. So you do have grease fittings going all along over there, and I mean, it's pretty well built. Your edges are pretty sharp on all of the auger. I mean, this thing can throw some snow. I'm pretty sure in the spec it says 79 tons of snow per hour. So yeah, so I mean, it's definitely built very, very well and sturdy and can take some abuse. You do have your thicker steel gauge followed by your LED light, which from the Rapidtrak version, you do have this added light up here. So that is that. So going over to your chute, you do have a electronic controlled chute. So everything about this chute is 100% electronic. There's a little dip switch in the back. I'll jump to it and show you. So which is very, very nice. It's convenient. I imagine it's going to be a slight learning curve. Just because of the position it's on. Oh, I'm sorry, where it's kind of sitting. You can easily reach it with your thumb. Other than, you know, you're going into your turns and you're running down and you're grabbing the handle and hurry up and making a turn really quick. So I imagine in everything I've seen on the Ariens page, it's going to be a little bit of a learning curve strictly on that. And other people said the same thing. Everything about it, 100% metal. You do have your plastic for your controls that are up here, followed by metal. And also your two shear bolts up top. And then since we're still on the topic of the chute, your chute control is actually this little thumb right here. So if you have this thing engaged, and bear with me. So you have everything engaged. I got my drive, my auger locked in, and then I'm going to try to do this switching hands. If you're sitting there, you can reach over with your thumb and up, down to control how far you want to throw it, and then left to right to simply move the chute left to right. So that is very, very nice and convenient. It is electronic. So if you're trying to stay away from electronics, this may be not the snowblower for you, because there is a whole bunch of electronics, and this is also fuel injected. So there is a little bit more involved than your typical snowblower. So going back over here, you do have all your wires nicely. Molex plug, Molex plug, quick access. And then the so-called reason why I bought this snowblower with the Rapidtraks is I was very, very skeptical at first. I was originally looking into a Honda HSS 28, and from I kind of went back and forth, and I really didn't want to spend the extra money to destroy it from pretty much I was kind of picking up. So then I came across Rapidtraks, and at first I really didn't like it until I actually went and seen one and played around with it. And the reason why I like it is you do have your lever up on the you do have your lever up on the right handle that controls it. Now the Ariens Kraken, which is the next step up, is all of this is electronic. There's actually a big piston that sits right there, and it's all within a simple flick of a switch. This model is not. So anyways, with further ado, so the Ariens Rapidtrak, if you're not familiar, I'm going to kind of quickly go over it. You have three different options. Option A, which kind of sits going down to the ground right there. So this would be your traditional wheel mode, so like a wheel snowblower, which that was a huge plus. So you do have approximately right where my hand is forward of your grip, like a traditional wheel. Followed by, you do have a little bit wider of a track. Okay, so say I'm going up and down the driveway, and I'm getting to that section where the excuse me, there's a car that ran over this spot a couple times, or I'm just losing a little bit of traction at the end of the driveway because it's just not enough where a wheeled snowblower would start to get stuck. So I'll take this lever, pull it once, it instantly drops the back to the ground. Now at this point in time, here we go, now I have that whole width of that track floating on the ground. So I am floating. So if I switch hands here, I can still, as you see, I'm moving the snowblower up and down, and it's floating on the ground. And I would imagine I could pick it up. So you get the extra ability of the traction, but yet you're floating on the ground, unlike some of the other track models where it's on the ground, it's locked. If you need to move it, it's your traditional pain in the neck. Now, the added feature, which I really like, is after you press this once, how it's floating, if I grab the handle and lift up, now I'm locked. So now, no matter how hard I push this thing down, and if I put the phone down, I can put probably 80% of my weight on that back handle before it actually starts lifting up. It is 100% locked down. So if I'm hitting that spot where the car ran it over 100 times, great. I'm going to dig right through it. And then it's simple to get it out. Go back to my lever, press my lever, push the snowblower all the way back, letting go of the handle. As you see, I'm tilting it up, and I'm right back to my wheeled mode. And then if I didn't want to go that far, I would just simply press the button. It would help to get a little bit weight off the back handle. If not, no big deal. And then I'm back to the floating mode. So you have the option from the locked position to go to either one you want. That's what sold me on Rapidtraks. I've personally, other than going up and down the driveway like a little kid 100 times, I haven't used it in snow yet, so I haven't had any personal opinion about it other than simply going up and down the drive. so on and so forth. But anyways, the last thing about the tracks is when you get to the Ariens, any model with the tracks, whether it's the Platinum, the Professional, whatever it possibly may be, if Ariens sells the tracks, if you go to down here, you have this little lever that's here. Now, on the Ariens Kraken, if this is pulled out, if you go to start it, it will not start. You have, now this engages and disengages, because this is hydrostatic, which we'll go into in a minute. This engages and disengages the transmission. So if I'm out in the garage and I'm moving this thing around, I simply pull that around and I can move this thing all around the garage. Now if I'm engaged, I can move it left to right, but if I'm simply need to push this a couple feet forward, this thing isn't moving because it's locked in. Now, there you go. So that's pretty nice. So you're not kind of limited to, you're the middle of summer and this thing's in your shed and you have to move it. Oh, darn, now I got to put gas in this thing. Well, I can simply pull this lever and move this thing around like I normally would. Then followed by all that, you do have, like I said, the Professional line is a hydrostatic transmission that goes in there. And then I actually have, basically it is belt driven to the hydrostatic transmission. And then from there, it's just your typical chain drive running down. But excuse me, I'm getting over a cold. But you can see all this online if you actually go and to Ariens' website and pick up the Professional. You can see all the photos of everything. So that's the one thing I like when you, being that it's hydrostatic. Also, going up to my gearbox now, I'm at the moment I am doing snow. I can simply, this auger is locked when it's going. I'm sorry, but anyways. Oh, sorry, another phone call. But being that there's a hydrostatic transmission, so it doesn't have gears going back and forth between all this. So while I'm going and this thing is moving, doing snow, I can physically take one finger and move my adjuster anywhere I want. So say I'm going all the way forward and all of a sudden, bam, I want to shove this thing in reverse, bam, I'm in reverse. I don't have to mess with gears, and it's infinite. So it's smooth as you press this up. So just the slightest movement changes your speed, which is nice because like some of your locking geared ones, which your traditional style underneath, is very, very nice, because if I got that awkward speed where, let's just say 3 is too slow and 4 is too much, well, this is where the hydrostatic will benefit, because I can pick literally in between, which is very, very nice. I really like it. Like I said, it will take a little bit getting used to, because I can simply on the fly change it. It's a little bit different from your traditional snowblower, but that is the hydrostatic transmission. Now, going to the power plant. So the Professional line offers the Ariens AX 420cc, which if you translate it to horsepower, that's right around 13 horsepower. You do have your electronic start, typical. You do have your 420cc, followed by a 21 foot-pounds torque. And this is also a EFI motor. So EFI, electronic fuel injected. Needless to say, you do have a battery on underneath, in which I'll actually show you later in the video. You do require to charge this every 6 months in the book if it's not in use, being that this is EFI because it controls the fuel pump that's right under there. And I actually put a hour meter on here, so I had this whole thing apart just so I could nicely tuck all the wires. And I gotta admit, it's pretty cool. So EFI. So EFI, up on the dashboard, I do have my EFI knob and this is also, excuse me, your throttle. So all the way down is basically idle, and then this is a potentiometer. So as you roll this thing up, your RPMs go up. Now, being that this is fuel injected, I'm going to start it real quick. It's very, very easy to start. So if any other line has their EFI motor, Simply turn it on. You'll hear when I turn it on, you'll hear the fuel pump kick. As soon as it kicks off, you're ready to start. And you'll see me. This is sitting in my garage. I'll start it real quick with one finger. Here we go. Fuel pump kicked in. And then basically one finger, very, very little effort. Oh, I'm due two. I'm sorry. It's very, very easy to start because it's fuel injected. So if that's an issue where starting has always been a problem for you, maybe you're a little bit older, you can't pull a cord, whatever your case may be, that's the benefit of the EFI. Other than when this thing is plowing through snow and requires more torque. Excuse me. Now the garage is covered in exhaust. Other than it's very, very easy to start. As you're plowing through snow, it will calculate exactly how much fuel needs to go through. So let's just say you're going through a very big bank of snow and this thing is just chugging. It's going to give the max performance it possibly can. And then, you come out of it and it's going to adjust it. So it is a little bit more into it. But that's the benefit of EFI versus your traditional carburetor. It's just whatever, it's on, off, your throttle, that's it. There's a lot more into it that I'm probably not even explaining. But I mean, you can look all this up. It's all on the internet. So that is, I really, I really like it. Unfortunately, the maintenance is a real pain in the neck. On it. It does have a fuel pump that is in the gas tank. When everything's apart, you can kind of see it a little bit under there, but it is built into the bottom of the fuel tank, so if you had to replace that, you got to take the tank off. But other than that, like I said, it does have a lithium battery on hand. They say in the manual, if it's not in use, you need to charge it every about 6 months, in which I do. And there's not a lot of information out there of how to charge it. Other than the charger, which comes with it, has a Molex plug. If you go underneath and see, like I said, this is a lot of electronics. So this little guy here, you would disconnect this Molex plug and then put your charger directly into that and let it charge. And the charger itself's got all kinds of lights on it and whatnot. But that is, and the battery is kind of tucked up there in a sealed compartment. That's something you absolutely need to charge every 6 months. Otherwise, at the end of the day, it's not going to start. Other than that, all your electronics, your wires are either in the steel handles and or all in nice wire loom. Everything from the connections, some of them have a little goop on it. And then other than if it's like a main control board, there's all kinds of silicone on the bottom and whatnot. But that is, sorry, getting up here. That is all about the motor, the EFI, all that good stuff. Another thing, there's a lot of steel on this snowblower. This whole top, steel. The side, steel. Handlebar, the bars, square tubing. You do have plastic here, a little bit of plastic here, your light, all that. And I mean, you do have your plastic that's in there. There's a lot of steel on it. A lot of snowblowers nowadays it's plastic, which, I mean, plastic lasts forever, but it also breaks. Also, being that this is more of a premium model, you do have your hand warmers, and I noticed they get warm pretty quick. I had them on my Cub. I loved them. I always used them. I felt them almost through my gloves. This one here, even if it's on half throttle or less, it's a little bit slower, but you can start to feel it through the handles, which is pretty nice. So I imagine this thing running at full bore, they're going to get pretty toasty. So yeah, that's the Ariens Professional EFI 28-inch cut snowblower. So I do have kind of a little cheat sheet going. I told you the auger is a 26-inch auger, 14-inch impeller. Some other thing, your bucket is a width of 28. Your height is roughly around 23 and a half. It will throw snow 60 feet. And yes, you heard me right, 60 feet. I believe every bit about it. You can see all kinds of YouTube videos. That's another thing that sold me. So if you want to get rid of snow, my God, this thing will chuck it back to where it came from. You do have your onboard brush. Stickers do not come with it. I had to match it. But I mean, other than that, I'm going to pause the video real quick, throw on a hoodie. I'm going to start it. I'm just going to show you this electronic chute real quick, how it all works, just sitting here at idle. It'll be a little bit slow being that it's at idle, but you'll get the idea. So I'm going to pause the video real quick. I'll show you that, and then we're pretty much at that point going to wrap up the video. This is a 20-minute plus long video. So if you stuck around this far, this is a pretty in-depth video of this, so thank you for sticking around. But anyways, so I'm going to show you that real quick. I'm going to pause the video. Hang on one second. Okay guys, so I'm going to show you, if you can hear me, it might be a little bit loud. I'm going to show you what the electronic chute. So here we go. Everything's just simply on my thumb. It is at idle, so it's going to be a little bit slower. You can take it almost practically all the way down, all the way up, all the way to the left, all the way to the right. And I'm just simply doing this on this little thumb controller. I'm going to turn it up just probably about halfway, just see if it changes any bit. Oh yeah, there you go. Okay, I'm gonna close the garage real quick. Oh shit, I got the car in the way. Anyways, so that is the full review video for the Ariens Alpine Edition Professional 28-inch EFI Rapidtrak. You can get this in a wheeled model. It does not come with the added light, and you do get your wheels. They're pretty big wheels. Me personally, if you got the extra buck, spend it on the track, because you get the option of wheeled, the floating mode, and then the dig mode. So you do have the option of all three, plus you get a wider surface area regardless with the Rapidtrak. Okay guys, thank you very much. I'm gonna go ahead and end the video. Maybe when it snows and I actually get some snow, I can put the tripod out and just kind of show you real quick going through this thing. Thank you for sticking around. Please like, subscribe, share. Thank you.